I'll start out by, I'll
Do we
just,
need, do we need to admit
with all-
Mr. Geisler?
I'll take a roll of each of the board members to verify that we do have a quorum. I'll start with myself. My name is Gus Jansen. I'm a public member and also serve as chairman of the board. Mr. Cochran, are you on the call?
Yes, Willie Cochran, Virginia Energy member.
Mr. Sutherland,
Yes, Dennis Sutherland, coal industry.
thank you. Ms. Gibson,
Mary Gibson, public member.
thank you. Mr. Mullins,
Lawton Mullins, industry representative. And Mr. Chairman, I will be abstaining today due to a business relationship with the related parties.
thank you. Mr. Owens,
Patrick Owens, a public member, and I will be abstaining today due to a conflict, business relationship with an interested party.
okay, thank you, everyone. We have 6 attendees today, so we do have a quorum, so we are good to proceed. Also on the call today, we have representatives from the Attorney General's office, Ms. Jessica Cooper, Mr. O'Brien, and Mr. Harrington. And we also have several members of the staff with us today if we have any questions or need any guidance. So this meeting of the Virginia Gas and Oil Board is a continuation of the board's July 21st, 2026 meeting, which was noticed on June 11th, 2026, in accordance with Virginia Code 45.2-1625. Today, we have docket items continued from the July 21st, 2026 meeting with docket numbers VGOB 26-616-4326, VGOB 26-616-4327, VGOB 26-616-4328, and VGOB 26-616-4329. The board is aware of a letter dated July 27th, 2026 from Mr. Scott Stevenson to Mr. James Garoppolo contending that sufficient notice of today's docket item has not been provided. The Office of the Attorney General advises us that this suggestion is not well founded. Gas and Oil Board previously continued today's docket items out of abundance of caution. The Office of Attorney General has advised us that the court's July 1st order should not encompass or affect the matters on the docket today. Nevertheless, given the complexity of the situation, it is the recommendation of the the Office of Attorney General that the board move to continue the hearings until a date agreed upon and resolve the pending docket items that are on today. So it's been a little bit confusing here, I know, for everyone. So I'll just try to again summarize where we're at today. The issue today is a hearing of appeals of permits that were ruled on by the director, Mr. James Garoppolo. Last hearing, there was some contention that today's proceedings should not be held due to the stay issued by the circuit court. There was a indication that it's going to be hearing. It's my understanding that the court did not take up the matters of the scope of the stay that's out there now, which I think leads to the Office of Attorney General's position that we should go ahead and continue these items today. I don't think there's been any scheduling, as far as I know, of the court to take up the matter of the scope. Is that true, Ms. Cooper?
That's true.
We still don't
Mr.
have any. We still don't have any guidance, and we have no timetable for any of that guidance. Also, we heard at the last hearing there were some timing constraints presented by Pocahontas Gas of an August 1st deadline. We've also been advised that the coal operator in this area, Coronado Coal, did agree with that August 1st deadline to get some feedback on whether they could be able to proceed with their permitting and be able to do his job well. So I think there has been determined there may be some flexibility in that time frame. And there's also the possibility, as Coronado has indicated, they could potentially fill the wells that are needed to degas the coal mine. themselves. They could drill those wells in accordance with the standards that would be needed to turn them over to a production well, depending on which party was successful in the appeal process. So that does allow for the gas to not be wasted in that manner, in that type. So I think today the board, we've also had some letters generated today from both parties on their positions of this. I don't think we need to rehash that today. We can discuss that if the board so chooses. So I think today the options in front of the board are hear the docket items as they're proposed, and we would either vote to uphold the director's decision, which then could lead to an additional appeal process, which again affects all these timings, or we could overturn the director's decisions of those permit applications, in which case then they would revert back to the permitting process, which would begin over. Again, that would affect these timings that we've had put before us. So we can also continue these docket items to a date today agreed on by the board, in the anticipation we may get some guidance. With nothing said, I'm not sure how we come up with that date. I think we could also continue these docket items to the next scheduled meeting in August is another option. They would already be on the docket. It's already being continued. Or we could vote to continue these indefinitely until the circuit court does provide some clarity on how we should proceed. Is anything I've said there incorrect, Ms. Cooper?
No, sir. I think you've covered all your options correctly. We would suggest next week due to the time issues, but obviously those are all the options for the board.
But Steve, in the background, if you please. Thank you. Go ahead, Ms. Cooper. I'm sorry.
No problem. Yes, sir. You listed all the options correctly. The Attorney General's recommendation would be to continue to next week, but you did list all of the various options correctly.
So I'll open it for discussion with the board. I'm not sure what we would accomplish by continuing to next week if we don't have any guidance from the court at this point in time. So I'll open that discussion amongst the board members on what their preference would be to do to move forward.
Mr. Chairman, this is Mary Gibson. Apologize for that.
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
So is our only option on these is to continue them? You're not suggesting, or you did?
We can hear them today if we would choose to do that.
Okay,
we are working under. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So when you say hear them today, does that mean the decision to either approve or continue only, or a discussion?
No, ma'am. Each of those documents, we would either, their option would be for an outcome would be to either uphold the decision of the director on each of those permit applications, or we could overturn the decision of the director. And then that would, and upholding those decisions, in my opinion, is going to lead to an appeal process continuing on. If we overturn the director's decision, then the permit process would revert back to its original state and have to start over, which would probably set everything back another 30 to 60 days with a potential for those to be appealed again. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir. I would like to make a motion that we uphold the director's decision on 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Ms.
Okay.
Gibson, pardon my interruption. If the board did vote to hear these today, we would need to have a hearing on them with a. It would be limited to the issues that were brought up to the director below, but there would need to be opportunity for argument and cross-examination on those. But they would be restricted to the information that was previously presented to the director.
Okay, whatever. I withdraw my
So
motion.
do you want to, motion, or do you want to withdraw that motion, Ms. Gibson?
Yes,
Which one, Ms. Gibson? You want to withdraw your motion or continue?
I withdraw my motion.
Okay, thank you.
Miss Cooper,
It's better.
when can we expect any idea when we can expect the court to make a decision on any of this?
No, sir. We've had probably about 100 emails back and forth trying to schedule something over this last week. And parties have been unavailable to do so. So we do not have a proposed time or day as of yet. We can ask the court for those this afternoon to get a new batch of proposed times for the court to be heard. Oh, and I believe Mr. Harrington wants to comment on that issue as well.
The Office of Attorney General's view is that the court's July 1 order, if you fairly read it, does not prevent the board from moving forward on the docket items that are in front of it today. We, out of an abundance of caution, advise you to defer because we preferred getting a decision or a clarification from the court confirming that our reading of the court's order is the correct one. So that's why we advised deferring at the last meeting. There's nothing in the order as we read it that would prevent the board from moving forward, and we don't think that the board would be violating the court's order if it did so. That said, there would still have to be the hearing with the opportunity to present on by the parties on these permit applications to the board. We've recommended deferring again in part because of the communications over the last week. There's been a real effort to get in front of the judge. The judge proposed 2 different dates. We were unable to get all parties before the judge on those 2 dates. Diversified was unavailable on either of those dates. And that is why we have not been able to put this issue in front of the judge to ask for the clarification. If there was a deferral and still an unavailability to get that clarification from the judge, we would consider recommending that the board simply move forward at that point. We've told the judge what our interpretation is. We have not heard otherwise from the court. So that would be one other option that would be available to the board.
Thank you, Mr. Harrington. And I'll add on to that again that one of the reasons we continued these docket items from the last hearing was based on the discussion revolving around the August 1st deadline that Pocahontas presented to provide some clarity to the co-op or Coronado, that they would be able to move forward permitting wise, drilling wise, getting the degas wells in place that are needed to ensure that the mining would be able to continue at the desired pace that they're on now. And again, I think there's some flexibility in that, what I've heard since then. And also the fact that no matter when we hear these, most likely there's going to be an appeal by either or both parties, or either party is going to appeal. Whichever party does not prevail, the other one's going to most likely appeal. And so the time frame is not going to be met no matter what we do. Based on that, my recommendation would be just to continue them indefinitely until we have guidance from the court at that point in time. It's really not going to make any difference on the arguments that were put forward on behalf of Pocahontas Gas and Coronado from the timing standpoint. We're not going to meet those deadlines regardless, in my opinion. Any other discussion from the board on how they think this might proceed?
Mr.
I
Chairman,
would make
this
the
is,
motion. Go ahead,
Mr.
Dennis.
Chairman, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Your microphone broke up and I wasn't able to hear you. I'm sorry. If you could repeat that.
I was just adding on to Mr. Harrington's discussion there on the reason for the continuance at this point in time, that we had heard some argument from Pocahontas Gas of an August 1st deadline, that they needed to provide some feedback to the coal operator, Coronado Coal, that they would be able to ensure that they could meet their schedule for permitting, for drilling and completing, or drilling and getting wells in operation to degas the well in advance of the mining operation, to ensure that those mining operations would proceed as needed. And we also have heard discussion that Coronado has the option of drilling the wells themselves and drilling those wells to the capability that they could be turned over to whoever prevailed in all these proceedings to operate those wells to collect that gas somewhere in the time frame about November of 2027. So again, I'm back to the position that making a decision today, next week, or next month is really going to be immaterial to those deadlines, because we're not going to meet any of those deadlines with the appeal processes that both parties have in front of them. So my motion to the board would be that we continue these 4 docket items indefinitely until the circuit court provides us clear guidance, so that the Attorney General's office would be on board with us going ahead and hearing these permit objections. So do I have a second from anybody on the board?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Mr. Sutherland. Ms. Gilbert, will you poll the board for a vote?
Yes, sir. Mr. Owens,
Abstain.
Mr. Sutherland,
Yes.
Mr. Mullins,
Abstain.
Mrs. Gibson,
Yes.
Mr. Cochran,
Yes.
and Mr. Jansen.
Yes. Thank you, everyone. That concludes all the business that we have on the docket today. So these items will be continued indefinitely until we have clear directions from the circuit court on how to proceed, whenever that may occur. So the board would encourage the parties to continue to reach an agreement. What I've seen on the pooling applications and the permit applications to date, there's not a significant difference in the drilling cost and the anticipated production and the reserves that are going to be generated by these wells. So most of this conflict is based on the contracts and the leases, and the board's been very clear on its position on those matters. I'd encourage the parties to continue to negotiate in the spirit of mine safety concerns and the potential for lost production and revenues. You have several options in front of you to do that. One I haven't heard either party bring forward this board is possibly escrowing all the drilling payment cost, all the drilling revenue, all the production revenues, that those all could be moved forward on the applications, the pooling applications, on the permitting applications. And all those revenues and costs could be distributed at a later date based on the direction by the court. I strongly advise you all to try to go down that route rather than continue to come in front of this board and try to get decisions made. If we're going to continue to have appeals, we're going to affect the mine safety and we're going to affect the production of all this. I think there's an opportunity there for these parties to get together, and hopefully you will continue to do that. That's all I have. If any of the board members want to comment any further, I would enjoy that. Thank you, everyone. I'll take a motion to close this meeting today.
So
I
moved.
make a motion.
We have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everyone. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Thanks.